and I managed to get a little hole dig up where I could get air, and I was pinned to the floor, face down, and my left foot, I couldn't move. I mean, it had so much hay on it. My right foot, I couldn't tell for sure what was going on with it. I thought it had to be on top of my left foot. And my dog, who I had a very loyal dog at the time, Rex was his name. Rex started barking and carrying on because he knew something terrible had happened to me until my dad and brother come looking for me. And they didn't know where I was because I was buried under this huge pile of hay. Now understand, if I'd have stood where I saw it coming, the hay was about 16, 18 feet in the air, and I had gotten down to where it was just 5 feet in the air over me. And they realized I was under the hay, and so they started digging me out, and I was trying to move. I had an air hole, and my right foot I couldn't, and left foot I couldn't do anything with. I'd lost the fork, and when I moved, something was hitting me on my shoulder. And I thought, boy, I hope it isn't the prongs on that fork, because I didn't know where the fork was. Well, when they got me dug out, I was laying face down, and it was my foot laying on my shoulder.
Oh, no.
Fractured, a spiral fracture in my femur all the way up. And I'm laying face down, and my foot is up here, and it grossed my brother out pretty good. My dad was in charge of moving my body, and my brother, because I couldn't raise my foot or nothing, he was in charge of getting my leg straightened out and carrying my foot. And I had no idea what an emotional experience that was for him until we were talking about this a couple years ago. And he got tears in his eyes talking about what had happened 60 years ago. I mean, he still could live that scene. And when they got my foot straightened out, my dad would try to carry me a little bit, and my brother would carry my leg. Well, the problem is they never could get it quite synced. So the bones would stretch apart, and my dad would stop, and my brother then would stop, and the bones would jam together. Now, at that point, oh, it was killing me. You could scrape me off the barn roof over that one. And they literally, I'm in the hay mow, and they literally pushed all that hay out into the driveway so that they got a gate, a little gate I could lay on, slid me on the gate, and walked out of the hay mow onto this big pile of hay and down. And in those days, we didn't have rescue squads. They had a local ambulance company pick me up and take me to the hospital. And I had so much hay chaff down my neck and so much hay, they changed the sheets on my bed 2 or 3 times a day in the hospital because of the amount of hay and hay chaff that was in there. And I ended up with a bunch of, in those days they didn't have compression plating and all this stuff that we do today. And I had a 30-inch long pin in my leg and a bunch of wire holding the bone ends together.
Was it open?
No, it was not compound. And the thing is, I had that in for 6 months. I was on crutches for 10, 12 weeks. And ultimately, I could tell every time it was going to rain because my hip would hurt. And so at 6 months, they pulled the pin. The weather forecasting stopped. And to this day, I still got the wire, and they see it every time I go through airport security.
You're lucky it wasn't open. The infection would have been almost assured.
Oh, it would have been guaranteed.